It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Comfy.
Yeah.
Doing well.
Hope everybody's doing okay out there. What's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Dang, we took a week off.
We did.
And it made me forget everything I did.
Thank God.
Ay.
It was so moving.
Right? So much.
Clearly very memorable.
Right? Basically, I've been doing this same old. Mayor of Kingston is getting really good. The boys, I'm still kind of, I don't know. I'm still out on that one. We shall see. Everyone keeps telling me the fourth episode will bring you right back in. So it's like, okay, let me see if I can make it to the fourth episode right now. But on one of my little rabbit holes on YouTube, do you guys remember back in, I guess it's been about 3-4 years ago, a girl went jogging and she came up missing. And like the whole world was looking for her and everything else. Cute little blonde, you know. Everybody was looking for her. She was gone for like, I want to say like a month. And then she just like shows back up. And she's like, oh, I'm fine. Well, it came out later that she had an ex-boyfriend actually like, quote, quote, kidnap her. And, yeah, pretty fucked up. Well, Hulu now has put that whole story together because I was watching it during, I'm wanting to say the Murdaugh murders, that big prominent family that I think he killed his wife and his son and everything else. Well, I'm wanting to say that happened like around this time, but I remember her coming up missing. And of course, anytime a woman is in a relationship, whether it's her boyfriend or her husband, if anything happens to her, the first person they look at is the boyfriend or the husband. And they were ruthless on this man. The media, you know, labeled him a murderer, and every time he went out in public, tell us what you did with the body, and, you know. So he, you know, is vindicated. Yeah, you know, to say the least. But I remember when, you know, I watch a lot of like interrogations and that kind of thing, not necessarily just the court cases, but I like when they bring them in for questioning before they actually take them to court. And he was sitting in there and he was listening to her talk to the cops and they were asking her questions. And at one point, it's like you could freeze frame on the moment when it all set into him that she's fucking lying. She is so lying, you know. And I think they let her carry this charade out for like a good 6 months after she came back before they finally were like, okay, look, we've put all the pieces together. We've talked to your ex-boyfriend. She's so crazy that she described his house, the boyfriend's house that she actually was at. Now, if you're going to lie, definitely, I mean,
Base it on reality.
Well, she did. And that's what screwed her. If she would have based it on fantasy, a room that never existed, they're never going to find it, because it doesn't exist, then they couldn't have, like, nailed her as hard as they did, you know. But they're like, look, you were talking about looking out this window, and here it is in your boyfriend's house, you know, or ex-boyfriend. So it's kind of crazy. But after the Netflix thing, I think I had seen where she was lying. But like I said, I watch that kind of stuff all the time. The media did not play it as hard as they did that the husband was a murderer. They didn't play it as hard as when she went missing and everything else. And they didn't play it as hard as their story of her being tortured while she was gone and everything else. It's like as soon as it came out that the husband wasn't involved, the media didn't want to have anything else to do with it. You know, they were done. They got their views, and that's it. So it's sad when people can make those kind of accusations against someone. They labeled him a wife murderer, and they make it's aforementioned. Oh, by the way, you know, back page story. We're sorry, we were wrong. You know, I think they should be held accountable for when they do things like that. They could have gotten that man killed. You know. But yeah, Hulu has, it's called The Perfect Wife, The Mysterious Disappearance of Sherri Papini. It is 3 parts. Like I said, it is on Hulu. I kind of fell asleep during the third half.
Damn.
What? How could you?
Right. I guess part of it is I knew the story at that point. You know, I knew what, you know, I'd seen more of it on YouTube, but it does kind of get slow there because they start going into, like the evidence they have against her and talking to different people. And to me, like I said, I guess maybe because I had seen it before, I wasn't really interested in that. I don't think they ever said why. Why did she do this? What makes a person do something this outlandish for a little bit of attention? She had to have known she was going to get caught, you know? And then what?
You'd be surprised at how naive people can be about shit like that, though.
Yeah.
They really do think that they will not get caught.
I'm too cute.
Which is
Everybody's
insane.
going to believe me.
Oh, I'm way smarter than anybody who's I'm telling the story to.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, she had her boyfriend brand her while she was gone. That's how far she got into the story. You know, she would have him beat her. Now, this is like willingly do this so it looks like this. And he did it. Well, my other question, though, is while he's playing house with her, they said that he had a mom and a brother that talked to him and everything else all the time. Why didn't they see this girl who's all over the news right now of being missing? Why did someone call the cops or tell on this guy or, you know, tell on her? Something. But yeah, like I said, it's a crazy little story. If you've seen the news, I probably just spoiled all of it, but if you watched it play out in the news, then you already knew what happened. But this just kind of gives you a little bit more detail and that kind of thing on it. So it is interesting. But other than that,
See, I don't get how you can sit and watch those interrogations because they go on for hours and hours. And you get bored over a 30-minute span where they're actually talking about evidence. They're summarizing and you're getting bored. And that you can sit and watch that interrogation shit for 16 hours at a time.
I think for me, I won't say fascinated because fascinated is the wrong word on that. I find the human mind really interesting. And it's kind of neat when they come in and they're like, oh, yeah, man, I was there and I watched the whole thing. And then it comes out with, yeah, I had the gun. Oh, yeah, I shot him. Just to watch that kind of break down, for one, and them getting caught. But two, it's weird how their mind works. and things that they think are so normal and nobody will ever suspect me. And they're like, yeah, but that cat was already dead. I mean, that's normal, right? So I guess for me, it's the for one, why. Most of the time, you don't get the why. When you're watching the court cases, a lot of times they cut a lot of that out and go straight to the sentencing. Or sometimes they won't even take the stand and tell you why, you know. With interrogations, you kind of get to hear the why and what led up to that.
Yeah, but you
So
have to sit and listen to so much nothing in the meantime until you get to
yeah,
the why. And so you get to the point where you get to the why, and you're 7.5 hours in, and you're like, you're lucky to spot the why, even though it's right there.
right.
I just,
Well, but sometimes you can see it from the cop's point of view too. You know, the further you listen to the story, you're like, now wait a minute. He said he was at 7-Eleven at 12 o'clock that night, you know. There's one guy who he killed two people behind it's like a Publix, which I think is like an H-E-B or something
yeah,
here.
it's a grocery store
And
chain.
he's like mental, absolutely mental. Well, he told them 3 different stories of where he got the gun from. He was trying to explain why the gun was there and how, you know, how he got it. Well, at first it was he found it at a gas station and he stubbed his toe on it. Swear to God, he stubbed his toe on it. And then the second one was no, a friend had brought it to him and he was just practicing, you know, with cans and that kind of thing. And then the third story, which was actually the true story, is he stole it from his grandfather, which makes more sense than any of the other 2 stories that he had said.
You say
know.
that, Liz. We live in Texas now. We all stub our toes on guns at the gas station. Come on.
Right, they just stick up
They're
out of the
just
ground
laying all
every
over the
day.
place. I mean, they're everywhere.
All those bullets they shoot off on the 4th of July come down
Mm-hmm.
and grow little guns everywhere, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just ask Michael Moore.
Gun seeds, right.
Gun seeds, yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw
so,
that video myself, and I thought it was really good. I didn't see that the media was taking it out on the husband all that much.
yeah,
They took an attitude of, yeah, he did it,
yeah,
but they weren't berating him for it. They weren't hounding him for it. And she disappeared on late October, early November, and showed up on Thanksgiving Day
yeah.
because she wanted to see her children again. She just did it because she was bored.
Yeah, she was getting tired of getting beat.
Well, she
I
wasn't getting beat.
you know, well, yeah, she was having that guy that was her boyfriend was hitting her with like hockey sticks and stuff. That's why when she
Well,
came back, she had the
Yeah, but was this
bruises
just
and
a
the
kink or
brand,
something?
and
I mean,
she did that so she could show bruises.
yeah,
She from
that
her
she had
assailant,
sustained torture. Yeah,
but it
but he
wasn't.
was thinking it was some kind of like kink or something she was into.
see,
You
that's where
know,
my brain went, which says a lot
yeah.
about me, I think. But anyway.
I felt
It,
bad for the ex-boyfriend because I think he was a little slow, and she played on that.
that's possible.
He
You mean
may not
Slotline.
have known she was missing all over the news, you know?
Needs to see the brain specialist.
Right. Yeah. Well, and as soon as the cops came to him, he told them everything. You know, that's how they finally caught her, is because he spilled the story on her because he didn't see it as wrong. You know, I didn't know she told everybody she was kidnapped and beaten and, you know.
You did notice what she was branded with, right? You saw the verbiage.
I don't
When
think
it,
they showed that in the Hulu thing.
well, if you look at it,
No regrets.
No
they,
regrets.
no,
Regrets.
it was Exodus, and then it gave a chapter and verse,
Huh.
but it plainly says Exodus.
Leader.
And yeah, she wanted this to make everybody think that she had been tortured.
Yeah.
The ex had a moment. If I recall, he was still in love with her.
He was.
And
They
this
had been
is why he did
texting
it.
back and forth. Yeah. But she had always told him. It was kind of, to me, it reminded me of she knew that he had feelings for her, and she played with him just enough to keep him on that line. Because she
I
knew
believe so.
she would pull, he would do something like this for her. But see, that goes back to, I don't think he was all mentally there. Not, I think he probably is special needs. Because even afterwards, when they're telling him you didn't know she was missing, some of his answers were kind of like a child would give you, But yeah, like I said, when they're talking to him and she says a certain part in her story, it's like her husband just went white. And it was like he leaned back in the chair and it was like, yeah, this isn't right. This either she had told him something differently or he just knew that, was too much at that point,
Right, yeah.
But he finally went. Like I said, I think he knew from then on, but he couldn't prove it. When they finally brought them into the interrogation room and everything else, when they said the guy's name and showed the house and everything else, he flat asked him, "Can I leave? Do I have to stay here?" And, "Oh no, please stay, please stay." And he's like, no, he got up and he left. From what I understand, he left and went home and got his kids and see ya. I think after pulling something like that, he got custody of the kids and he divorced her, and that would be a kick in the ass, though. You had people believe I murdered you so you could go fuck your ex-boyfriend. That's ultimate betrayal, It's one thing just to leave and tell me you're leaving. Be a woman about it,
Grow a pair.
Yeah. But instead you concoct all this bullshit and ruin your body. And then she said that it was two women who abducted her, quote, quote, and that one of them was nice to her. And they fed her crackers and stuff and brushed her hair. And
called her George.
Right. Well, she was the one who finally let her go. Or this was Sherri's story. That Mexican woman was the woman who finally let her go. And the cops were like, you need to tell us, from the very beginning when she came back, you need to tell us what she looks like. No, I can't do that. She's the only reason I'm home and with my kids today. Because they were going to traffic me and, blah, 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 blah. And then come to find out, of course, the whole reason you didn't want to tell anybody what she looked like, because there was no one. It was all in your head. Your sick little head. Yeah, I don't know how long that's been out. I think 60 Minutes did it. Maybe. Do you guys remember on Saturday mornings, SeaWorld used to do like a animal show? And God, I swore I'd never forget this guy's name. But one guy who was really popular, they wound up firing him from Discovery or whatever channel this is. And this other guy came in and took his place, and it's like Mark Chapman or something like that. And he never fit the part because he wasn't as good as the other guy. Well, that guy is in this. He's one of the interviewers and stuff. I wish I could remember his name. He reminds me of that guy from New Girl, Schmidt. That's what me and Phil used to call him, Schmidt. But the other guy was way better.
That was a whole stack of references that I didn't get, but okay.
Right. Yeah, same.
Let me see if I guess it's normally.
It was that guy that was in that thing.
Yeah, normally I could tell you the guy's name because
You know, the one that had the car
we
in
used
it.
to watch this all the time.
And he did that, that thing, and yeah.
Okay, the guy who took over, his name is Matt Guck. He's the guy who does the interviews and stuff. I think he's part of like 60 Minutes or something, one of the normal interviews. And the guy that he took over from, his name was Sam Champion.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I know Sam Champion.
Yeah.
I
liked him.
He used to do the weather for Good Morning America.
Mm-hmm. And he was like the best narrator or whatever he did, I guess host of this show. And of course, Blackfish came out and they killed the TV show and, there you go. Which I don't know. I'm probably one of those that people would hate because I'm all for conservation and I believe that people need to see it and feel it and be a part of it to actually understand what they're conserving and what needs to be saved. And, zoos, aquariums, those kind of things, that's what does it. And some of these animals, especially the ones that SeaWorld takes in, some of these animals cannot be rehabilitated. They cannot go back out in the wild or we'll lose them. So what do? We have to save them. So I'm kind of on the fence. They've done some really, really, really amazing things, and they've also done some really bad things. But I think at some point, the amount of good that they've done should stand for something. So, but yeah. Sam
I'm
Champion.
sorry, but your glass is a little too full for me at this point. I'm a glass half empty guy.
Yeah. Well, I think when people do something bad, yes, they should be punished. Yes, you should have to learn from that mistake. But like I said, sometimes the amount of good that they're doing, you don't want to shut that down because they've done this one bad thing. That you have to give them a chance to grow and learn and not do that bad thing again, and that only applies in certain situations. I think, anytime there's kids or sex or that kind of thing, no second chances. But when it's not, I think people should be given a chance to grow and learn. If not, we're just getting mad at a bunch of people,
And what's wrong with that, I ask you?
Right, but
angrily, what's wrong with that?
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes anyway, but that's a different show.
6 sea turtles that are on the edge of extinction, getting caught in fishing nets. Do we just throw them back in the ocean and let them die?
No, but we don't train them to chase a ball with a blowtorch either.
No.
There's lines in every direction here.
There are things, yep. And then there's certain animals.
Never seen Blackfish, nor do I want to. But
no, I didn't watch it. I'll be honest. I have not seen Blackfish just because I am on that side of. I think people need to see it to know it. People don't care about things halfway across the world that they can't see.
People don't give a shit about things 5 feet away from them that they can't see because they're so short-sighted. But
you're right.
You're not really going to solve that problem tonight.
But if you see it up close and then you tell them, hey, there's only like 500 of these in existence. We have to save these, and this is how we do it.
And my honest opinion is that I think you would be surprised at how small a percentage of the population gives a rat's ass about that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect them.
No. But I am glad they closed down circuses, and I think rodeos should be next, but that's just me. Because you shouldn't
what you're
train
doing
animals to be something that they're not.
Right.
But have you ever seen dolphins? those are like the cutest, most personality fucking fish that you'll ever see. They will come up to the water.
They're
I mean,
not
this is in the
fish,
wild.
Liz. Come on
Well,
now.
but they'll come up and they'll chatter at you. They have videos of them bringing people's cell phones that they've dropped down at the water and stuff. Some fish, mammals, sharks, whatever, are just entertainers by nature. I mean, not because they're being forced to or, that kind of thing, but, they like that kind of thing. Not whips and chains and that kind of stuff, but I think to a certain point, some of them
that you know of
like that kind of thing, I
Well,
had a
and
problem.
they should be allowed to pursue a career in show business
If they want
in their
to.
own right. And by golly, they need to just call an agent, and it'll all fall into place for them.
Well, some of them do. They were out in the middle of the Gulf, look at me.
Right.
But
The
yeah,
next time somebody drops a cell phone off of a cruise ship, they can go grab that cell phone and immediately call an agent.
we got the next flipper.
Absolutely. Flipper? I don't even know her.
But when we first got Zeus, he was my boxer. This dog was crazy. I mean, absolutely insane. So of course we took him for training because I do not believe you should ever have a dog that you can't handle. Especially one with that size and weight. And they explained to us that some animals are working animals. They want to work. They feel needed when they work. German shepherds, that's a working animal. They want to be doing that kind of stuff, and they need to be doing that kind of stuff. So of course I'm not going to get my dog a job. I mean,
Oh, come on.
Make him pay his own way.
Yeah, right. Rent. He can carry your shit out the cars at Sonic. Come on now, that's fine.
So instead what we did was we got a little vest and we put jars of pickles on both sides, so it felt like he wasn't a lot of weight, but he could still tell that he was carrying something around, and he liked it. When I had my comic book store,
He liked it, and you had pickles wherever the hell you were. It's great.
Right.
Win-win.
Yeah, it was awesome, But
Jesus.
there are some animals that just like that. Comic book store, when people would come in, he was the first to greet them, and he'd do his little wiggle dance and, set for treats and that. He was performing for them. I didn't train him to do that. I didn't give him treats to do it or anything like that.
You didn't even let him eat the pickles? Come on now.
He didn't like pickles, surprisingly.
Damn it. Pickles are awesome.
But,
Did you check the internet for his login and such?
I know, right?
Well, no, but it was sad because the only review my comic book store ever got was about Zeus.
Cool.
So it's kind of like, man, well, hell, let's just chunk the comic books out and have people buy dog treats for my dog. I probably would still have the doors open today.
One star review. That damn dog didn't even share his pickles with me.
But, once I had the store, he didn't have to wear the pickles anymore. So he kind of took it as his job as, for one, protecting me, but, he had to entertain and had to wear his little shirt. And he liked it. He would put a shirt on if I didn't put one on him in the mornings.
No, he couldn't because he doesn't have thumbs.
I know.
Gotta have
but he would
thumbs to
take
put a
his
shirt
head
on,
and
Liz.
keep-
Come on.
You know.
No, I know. I'm just messing with you. But that's cool.
So yeah. So some dogs or animals, they feel like they need to work. It's in their nature to do that. So yeah. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, so send it to the fake Les Webster account, and we'll get right to that.
Dang. Hey, I for one am not going to argue with you, mostly because how the hell do you argue with that? But also because honestly, you know animals better than I do, so why would I?
Yeah.
I'm not going to. You've known way more animals than I have in my life. So
Right. Well, and I'm, working in rescues, I'll be the first to tell you there are people who are going to mistreat animals. And although, like I said, I have not watched the Blackfish, I think they definitely did find some people who did abuse some animals, but that shouldn't be the character of all of them. There's people who genuinely care and want to see these animals, not die. And you've got to take them to someone.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's got its good and its bad.
Right, and sometimes the bad outweighs the good, and sometimes not.
Right. Sometimes, yeah, the scales are a little tilted.
Oh,
But
lots of people's scales are tilted. But anyway,
I do think they should have kept the show on the air, though, because I think that showed people the good that they were doing in the areas that they impacted. And, one show they had, and I even saw it during this Hurricane Beryl, sea turtles, almost extinct. They have all laid their eggs up on the shore right now. This is their breeding time, They were out there gathering these eggs up and everything else so the hurricane wouldn't take them off. Can you imagine the thousands of turtles we would have lost this season if they hadn't have done that? And these are animals that are almost extinct, so.
And that's primarily why they're doing it. And that's great. It's awesome that there's people who can do that.
Yep. And there's got to be people like SeaWorld who go, hey, this is this time of season and we need to get some volunteers down here. And, so you need people who know, too. I wouldn't know. I would want to help, but I wouldn't know how, And they're kind of the ones that we know how. We have the doctors and the money.
And that's the hard part is, I've seen, on a vacation once, we went to a seminar specifically about sea turtles. It was on the East Coast. And they were really informative and knew a lot of stuff and really cared about the turtles. And but the deal was they're based in a small coastal town and they didn't have any money to do anything with all that stuff. And so one of the things they're doing there is they're selling stuffed turtles to try to make some money to keep their doors open, So
right.
the deal is to support those kinds of organizations where you can, because they're the ones where you're going to do the most good by throwing money at things.
After listening to their little speech and everything else about turtles, imagine how much more that would have been sold home to you if they actually would have had a live one there for you to look at and look into their little eyes.
Part of it involved walking out to the beach and spotting some turtles.
Yeah.
That was part of the deal, but yeah.
And it just makes it more personal. Because, like I said, once you look something into the eyes and you see, hey, this thing lives and breathes too, may not be human, but they have little feelings and stuff too. I think that's exactly what zoos do. I think that's exactly what aquariums do. It puts it up close and personal to you, to where now it's not halfway across the world and it doesn't affect you because you don't see it. Here it is in your face. This is the little animal that's going to die if you don't do something. It makes it personal for you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, how many people got upset over Hombre? Here's a gorilla in a zoo that the whole freaking world was mad at that little kid for going into that cage, But how many people in the world saw that gorilla? Actually seen it at the zoo. So it's kind of a, got to get him how you can, And I still don't think they should have killed him, but did you notice the whole world went to shit after we did?
Wow.
It did. We had the pandemic.
The Hombre effect.
If you're that little kid who went into the enclosure that got that gorilla killed, I would never tell people your name. You're the most hated kid on the planet for years. That was sad, though. He wasn't going to hurt him.
No, but again, it's a control issue.
Yeah.
That
Control your kid.
you
Keep
can't-
him out of the
Hey,
fucking
no
enclosures.
argument here. I'm right there with you.
Couldn't we put the kid down? I mean, I'm kidding.
We could tell you weren't,
That
but
was
okay.
that was a no. Shoot, that was dark though. Jesus.
Yeah, that was a little dark. And no, I don't condone killing kids. You know,
No, of course
even
not.
the loud ones.
Even the terrible ones. That's what they
That
have life
was-
in prison
what it-
for.
Yeah.
I get a different impression from your website, but okay.
Oh. You say that. I have a book that you might be interested in, Liz, but we'll talk about that later.
Cujo?
No. This
In
is
strict confidence.
nonfiction.
Uh-huh.
I actually should talk about that book sometime, but I'm not going to do it today. It would be fitting, but no. Maybe next week.
Save for next week. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a light week.
It might be. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to steal the show here and make it my turn, because if Liz keeps going, this is really going to get dark. But anyway,
Right.
I'm afraid there may not be light on the other side of that tunnel, but
Can you really recover after hombre?
I don't. That's the deal. Is that's got to be the end point, right?
Right.
Can't go down from there. So I watched. It almost feels frivolous now. I watched a movie. I found another old, relatively interesting sci-fi movie. This was actually on YouTube. This was on that channel I was talking about a few weeks ago, called Cinema Classics. So the title of this movie is going to get confusing because there's several of them. I'm going to try to stick to two here. The version of the movie that I watched is titled Terror in the Midnight Sun. This is This was released in 1959 in Europe, specifically in Sweden. It was a Swedish-American collaboration. It was then heavily edited and released in 1962 in the USA under the title Invasion of the Animal People. And the story... Oh, it is so hard to not give a one-sentence synopsis of this movie that will make perfect sense and utterly spoil it completely. So I'm going to try not to do that, because it is actually it's actually a pretty interesting movie. It's pretty cool. It's got some actual science type stuff in it, which is weird given what it is. But so the deal is, there is a meteor strike in northern Sweden, in Lapland. So hence the Midnight Sun part of the title. And there just happens to coincidentally be a famous American geologist in Europe. And so they fly him up to the northern tip of Sweden. And coincidentally, his niece, who is an Olympic skater, is already nearby. And so the scientist shows up and he meets this group of people that he's going to join their team to go up and investigate this meteor strike. And one of them is this young Studley Swede, who meets the skater and falls head over heels. He's like a playa too. I mean, it talks right up front about how this guy, you laugh every time I use that word. You know what I mean, but you laugh anyway.
I that note.
Yeah, because they make a point that the scientist, the older guy, is kind of giving him crap for being a ladies' man, and then immediately his niece meets him, and sparks start flying, and it's actually really kind of fun because she's really kind of cruel to him at first. She softens on him later, but so the deal is they go head towards the site where the meteor strike happened, and they start running into some weird stuff. And honestly, the deal with the skater ends up tagging along because she just doesn't want to get left behind. Because it all sounds real interesting to her, even though she's not really a scientist or anything. But so she actually stows away on this trip. But and so there's some like they find like mutilated reindeer out in the middle of nowhere near the meteor strike, and so yeah, and it's funny because they actually spot, and I won't get too spoilery with this, but one of the things they find when they find this bunch of dead reindeer is this footprint, and they take one look at the footprint and they're like, that has to be, whatever that is, has to be like 20 feet tall. Yeah, and so it kind of goes fun from there. This is, at the risk of spoiling it, I'm going to stop describing the movie at this point. But it's, like I said, it's on YouTube. This is the Swedish version, which has some interesting stuff about it. It's 73 minutes, so it's not even particularly long. For it being a black and white film shot in a snow-covered terrain, it actually looks really good. The print they have is actually in really good shape, like really good shape. One of the things that is notable, I think, and I may get crap for this. I will almost certainly get crap for this. Is the shower scene, which surprised the shit out of me because I actually had stopped the movie and say, wait a minute, when was this released? Because there's no way in hell. And that was when I realized, oh, this was not an American release. That's the problem. Because yeah, a shower scene with the skater in the shower with a translucent shower curtain, not much left to the imagination. In a 1959 movie, there's no way this was released in the U.S. And not surprisingly, that scene was cut out of the 62 U.S. release. But yeah, it's like completely, it's so gratuitous because it's fairly early in the movie. And it's so gratuitous that the actress who played the skater character, who was not the person in the scene, that was a stunt double. It was that, and that scene when I read about this, it said that scene was actually shot after the actress left, after the actress was done shooting. She sued them to try to have that scene removed, and eventually she had to drop the lawsuit because it wasn't actually her. It's wild. And the other funny thing about it is when they did release it, they cut like 18 minutes out of it for a U.S. release, and they added a narrator track to it. And the guy that got to do the narration was John Carradine. I have not seen that version yet. I am half tempted to track it down at some point, just to see how the narration helps, because it really kind of didn't seem to need it, in my opinion, unless they're cutting weird plot important stuff out. I don't know. Like I said, I'll have to watch it to see, but other than it being a fairly simple story, it's actually pretty good. It's a little slow moving at times, but a lot of that is they're chasing something around in the snowy wilderness. It's a lot of flat, snowy stuff because it's well up into the Arctic Circle and you don't get real trees out there. So it's a little slow at times, and there isn't much variety on the screen. There's not a lot of scenery breaking things up unless you just like snow. But otherwise, I mean, it's well done. It's a decent little movie. I would recommend it.
Sounds like fun.
Yep. It entertained me. Even beyond the shower scene. It entertained me.
I was on mute. I was saying, I thought the little monster was cute.
What little monster?
I was wondering why you was ignoring me. I was like, damn. I'm trying to get in this conversation.
What little monster?
And the invasion of the animal people.
Oh, see, I haven't.
You got little bug teeth. Reverse bug teeth. What do you call it?
I think they might have added some of that in. I don't know. I'll have to watch the American version and see. But yeah.
Well, what were they chasing then?
Well, it wasn't little, whatever it was. I was trying not to spoil that part, but
he's probably not little.
No.
But he got a cute, almost like a puppy dog face.
Okay, fine. There was a monster, but yeah, they said it was like 20 feet tall. And cute is relative. It was not the best costume work, but
yeah.
I mean, it was okay.
In
all fairness, yes, there's a 20-foot monster in it. Some of the stuff that they do with like perspective shots to get the size
trying
thing.
Not to spoil a movie from 1959.
It's okay. This is not the part I was expecting to get laughed at about, but that's all right. I'll take it. Yes, I'm trying to persuade people to watch the damn movie. If I tell them what it is, it's a very simple plot, and I don't want to give that away too fast because people might actually be disappointed if they think about it that way. But if they watch the movie, they might actually like it.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, there are some cool perspective
I'll
shots.
let you have that one
because of the size of the monster and like some of the buildings that he walks around near. So yeah, it's like I said, it's an interestingly done movie, despite Liz's inability to let me not spoil it. Oh, the fun we have.
I was supposed to say, spoiler, I barely know her.
See, that's a good one. I like that. That's a good comeback.
I'm learning.
Uh-huh. However many years it's been down the line, yeah. You're bound to have picked up a little bit something there. Jeez. Probably get a shot, get that fixed. But anyway. It's probably mold. That's what I got.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
At least for
and
now.
Tubi has the international version, or?
I don't know. I haven't looked for it yet.
Oh.
Maybe? They might. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, you said you watched it on YouTube.
I watched it on YouTube.
Someone was paying attention.
I looked it up, though, and it's showing that it's on Tubi, too, so. Invasion of the Animal People is.
Cool. According to this, you can see it on Pluto also.
Hey.
Like I said, I might have to check it out sometime.
Okay. Les?
Well, I feel like I didn't do anything. This week, I did watch a program on Disney about the Beach Boys. It's a really good documentary.
Vibration?
Pardon me?
I said a good vibration?
No, it goes by a different name, but it's fun because they tell you about the creation and the growth that they had. Unfortunately, they did not cover the serious passing of one of the members, but they did cover the fact that one of them was friends with a songwriter or wannabe songwriter named Charles Manson.
Huh.
And they did talk about the fact that the Beach Boys took one of, or they created one of his songs. Manson had a record deal at one time. What was your
Didn't one of the
question?
Beach Boys go and stay on that ranch for like a couple of months with Manson?
No,
No?
but he did see the location and was pretty much repulsed by it.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing to watch. It's almost 2 hours, and they intersperse music with the showing. So it is extremely beneficial as far as a document goes. It's interesting to find out the different pieces, because I knew about Manson and the fact that Manson's crew killed all those people, and they were looking for Terry Melcher at that time, and Melcher used to live in that house, but he moved out, and when Manson's group went there, they didn't have Melcher, but they did have Sharon Tate and the others. I was always fascinated by the storyline of Manson.
Me too.
And if you get to read the book, it's so good. The one that was written by the prosecuting attorney.
I think that's the one I saw. And like in the middle of the book, like 80 pages is nothing but pictures and evidence and letters and stuff. That was a good one.
Skelter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Bugliosi? Something like that. Wasn't that his name?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't that his name?
Who again?
Bugliosi.
Oh, yeah, yes, Vincent Bugliosi.
Yeah.
And he had done 2 or 3 books. But I remember this one because I sat out by the pool and started reading it, and I was so involved with it, I sat out there and burned my body. It was that fucking good. Pardon my language.
Flame on.
See, I think I read it in middle school, and
What?
everybody left me alone.
That explains a few things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Though honestly, we had a copy of it in the house, and so I might have actually picked it up and looked at it at least. Looked at the pictures when I was that young.
Well, it was so fun to read and
Mm-hmm.
understand what was going on, because at the time I picked it up, it was still going on. The trial was still going on.
The ink was
So
still wet.
Wow. Yeah.
The rocks were still warm.
okay, it's a little warped, but okay.
I'm glad he didn't go with the fork in the belly comment, you know.
Oh, no. That's tasteless even by my standards.
Yeah,
Um,
that was crazy. And I think the thing that see, I hate to say fascinated, because I'm not fascinated by serial killers. I'm really not. But
Oh, no.
I
Despite all the
think the
evidence.
thing that caught my attention so much on this was, or for one, it was horrific, but how people would just mindlessly follow someone. And he never laid a finger on any of his victims, but he served the most time out of all of them. So to me, it was just wow, you know. And even when they were being faced with, look at what you did, they still blindly stood by him, put X's on their heads and stood up in court. And, you know, it was, for one man,
yeah,
crazy.
I'll agree to that.
Yeah. And my mind's always going, why? Why?
But they couldn't tell you.
They couldn't. And he couldn't either. What was he trying to do? Start it, not just a race war, but like a social class war, you know?
Yeah, he wanted to split the whites and the blacks.
Yeah. And
For a start.
unfortunately, anybody could have lived in that. I don't know if he picked that house because he knew Sharon Tate was there, or it was just the type of neighborhood that he would start it, you know?
No, he did not pick that location because Tate.
Yeah.
He just didn't know that Melcher had moved out. He thought Terry Melcher was going to be there. That's who he wanted his revenge upon.
Okay. So
Now,
Terry Melcher
definitely,
was a record producer at the time.
yeah,
yeah.
thanks. But that was kind of it for me, and unless you want to say that I started watching Hawaii Five-0 reruns just for giggles.
The old version or the new one?
Yeah, old.
Okay. Cool.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Terry Melcher was the only child of actress-singer Doris Day. Totally random, but there it is.
That's cool.
Well, for me, couple things. I do want to talk about the Acolyte, but I'm going to wait, because as we're recording tonight, episode 7's premiering, so we're just about done with this season. I want to see the next 2 episodes, and then I'm going to give my thoughts about this show. But I did see something that was kind of fun. I don't know if y'all. I want to say one of y'all may have seen this before, but I don't know. It's a documentary. It's on YouTube called "Who Done It?" The Clue documentary. Has anyone seen this? And this is. Go ahead.
I don't recall it,
I
but
would say it
I
popped
was gonna
up
say,
on my Amazon thing, not recently, but I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, and this is talking about the making of the movie.
Huh. I thought Les had told us something about that, but maybe not, if he doesn't remember it.
Well, and we've talked about the movie before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we talked about the movie, yeah. So,
Well, now I'm saying the who done it because it kind of stuck with me, the done it part.
all right, who done it?
Done it. Yep.
I definitely recommend it if you're a fan of the movie. It. One of the things I like about on documentaries or the making of movies, the things I've always kind of find fascinating is the casting process. Where you find out, well, hey, we talked about casting this actor, but we went a different direction, or we went with this actor and they had to drop out, so we had to do this and that and the other. I always find those kind of interesting. And it's the same thing here. They actually at one point, and this was I think back when Landis was originally going to direct it, but it was actually written and directed by Jonathan Lynn. They actually talked about John Cleese playing Wadsworth.
Interesting.
That would have been.
If you think that's interesting, how about Jonathan Lynn's choice, which he went to Paramount and says, How about this guy? And they go, who? Rowan Atkinson.
That would
Whoa.
be cool.
Because they mentioned it, and I started thinking Blackadder. I'm like, ooh, that would be sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved him.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine. I'm struggling to imagine anybody else in that role, but
yeah. But Rowan,
that's interesting.
Rowan would have been interesting. And interesting bit of trivia. They were going to cast Leslie Ann Warren to play Mrs. White because they already had someone else playing Miss Scarlet. But she more or less backed out, especially when the insurance company found out. It's like, no, we can't have her in the movie.
What was their reasoning?
It's because the actress at the time was having some drug issues. She was actually in rehab.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, according to Jonathan Lynn, he said the day before they started doing rehearsal, she called him and says, I just want to let you know that I'm in rehab. And he's like, so you're not going to be able to do the movie? And she's like, oh, well, I can be there during the day. I just need to be back here at night.
Yeah.
That's
a liability.
That's not good, probably.
Are we ready for the name?
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher.
Well, that would have been an interesting role for her.
I'm like, that would have been, yeah, I think that would have been cool because she's done some comedy. She did some comedy, and she was really good at it. But I'm like, but we wouldn't have Madeline Kahn as Miss White.
Right.
And that would be horrible.
And Carrie Fisher vamping it up to do Miss Scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been. It would have been funny. It would have been fun to see that.
It would have been fun to see it, but we would have lost Madeline.
Right. We would have
Flames
lost that
at this
famous line. Yep, that famous improv scene.
Yep, it was. Yeah, that was improv. So, like I said, it's a fun little documentary about them making the film, and they were so surprised that it didn't do well when it was released. They think some of it was due to the fact that there were 3 different endings.
Right, the gimmick might have actually killed it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, there's interviews with Michael McKean, Colleen Camp, Leslie Ann Warren's in there. Like I said, Jonathan Lynn. That was about it. I mean, everything else was kind of just some footage from the past and all that. Like some Tim Curry's appearance at a convention. I don't remember how far back it was, but he was talking about the film and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of fun. Oh, and John Landis actually refused to be part of the documentary. So,
well, that's a bummer.
So it just kind of sucked because I watched that and was in such good spirits and all that, and then a few hours later I heard that Martin Mull had passed away. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, the timing is just.
Yeah.
Have you listened to any of Mull's records?
I have not. I really. I at one point I was going to do this and I forgot why I didn't go through it, but I'm really interested in watching Fernwood Tonight.
Oh yeah.
With him and Fred Willard and all that. I would like to see that. I'm sure it's somewhere. I just really haven't taken the time to do the research, but if I find it, so that I'm sure it's on YouTube or someone's got it. But
I think you're right. Someone does, but I couldn't tell you where it was. Mull was such a good writer of music.
mm-hmm.
He had some, to me, they were great hits. Other people would go, who is this goofball? But I thought he was very entertaining, very charming.
Oh, he was great. Okay, it looks like there is one channel on YouTube that has. Looks like it has some of them.
Yeah, it's a start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well,
I
we
mean,
know what Tom's doing after the show.
I mean, the first episode's title is "Talk to a Jew." Okay.
Just jump right in there, eh?
Why not? So, yep, I will definitely be checking this out and reporting back. Something else, a little bit of a soapbox. And I want to
because we haven't had enough of that already.
No, we don't do that here.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
And I'm not saying this to be prude or anything like this, but it just kind of surprised me. Listeners to the show probably might remember. It's not something I bring up, or at least I haven't brought up recently, that I use ASMR to kind of help me kind of chill and kind of try to get me into the mode to sleep and all that. I've been using it for several years. I came across someone who's just started putting up videos on YouTube, ASMR videos. And I'm like, well, let me check her out. Let me see. I try to. I'm always looking for different artists because they try to do something different to kind of make themselves different from the others, which is I applaud, because I know there's like one that all they do is two particular types of role play, and then that's it. I was like, okay, well, this is kind of boring as hell, but hey, it works, so go on. So I checked her out, and she's pretty good. So, but I started following her, and I got a notification one day here just a couple weeks back of a new video. So I was like, okay. So I went over there and started watching. And of course, she's, most ASMR artists are doing the whispering or soft speaking, that kind of thing. And that's what she was doing. But I did not pay attention to the title of the video and then I realized what she was doing. She was trying on different lingeries that were see-through. I was like, oh, well, this video won't be up long. Boy, was I wrong.
You'd be surprised.
And because I watched that one video, the next time I got on YouTube, all my suggestions are women trying on see-through clothing. That's all it was. I was like, what the fuck? So there's a ton of it out there on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm obviously late to the party here. And I was like, obviously they can get away with it because they've as long as they have this disclaimer. Let me see. I found one of the. Let me see if I can find that disclaimer.
Bullshit about educational purposes or something. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it here real quick because I know I've not. Yeah, it's anyway. It's basically. I mean, there's a little variation of it, but it's saying, well, this is supposed to be the review. Oh, here it is. They're kind of based on, they're more or less similar to this one. This video is a professional review of clothing focusing on form and function. It is not intended for sexual gratification. Bullshit.
Complete and total bullshit.
This video may contain clothing items that are transparent, and as a result, certain body parts may be visible. Like the one who was wearing a very tight pink dress, and you can see that she's not even wearing panties either, so you see everything. We strive to maintain a respectful and tasteful approach to our content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this video may contain clothing items that are transparent, which you would infer that they may also try on clothes that are not transparent. Well, bullshit.
That's not so much, really. No.
No. It's all transparent. Because I checked a couple of channels and I looked. That's all the videos they have is them trying on things that are sheer, transparent, see-through, whatever. And I'm like,
but have you stumbled across the subset of these?
I'm afraid to.
The wet versus dry variation.
I've seen that being mentioned. I have not looked into it.
It's a fucking wet t-shirt contest. It's not. It's the same thing except they're standing in a shower, and they blah blah whatever, and then they turn the water on. And I mean, you know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's absolutely ludicrous.
It's amazing because I mean.
Yeah, I can't imagine why YouTube has not cracked down on this yet.
I mean, if a woman or a man, I mean, but it is a woman. If it was a video of a woman who's there perfectly naked, it's already gone. The demonetized, probably banned for life, and all that kind of stuff. But since there's quote unquote clothing on her, it's okay.
It's all okay. Yeah.
And like I said,
it's an
I
interesting
don't.
loophole, and I'm wondering how much longer it's going to take for YouTube to close it.
And I'm kind of surprised this hadn't shown up on Twitch, because God knows Twitch has had its own issues.
I think they're still letting the fires die down from the last stunt that got pulled. But yeah.
Yeah. But and like I said, I don't. It may sound like I'm being prudish or Puritan or whatever, but it's like this is. I can't believe this. I mean, and it's just me accidentally stumbling across it because I was following someone who does something else, and I'm like, wow.
It is gratuitous to an impressive degree.
Mm.
And very thinly veiled at that.
Mm-hmm.
Pun possibly intended.
And I sit here and I think about this and I'm going, I hope they're making as much money as they can, because down the road when they're needing to get a 9 to 5 job, this is still going to be here. They can delete the videos, they can delete the pictures and all that, but it's the internet. It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
It still can be found.
Yeah. I suspect that a lot of these people are not ever going to have 9 to 5 jobs, but
yeah.
If they ever do, they'll come home and cry. You won't believe they made me work. Oh my God, I can't live like this. Have y'all seen that?
no.
Yeah. I wish I was kidding. These young people are finding out, you get jobs and you have to work at them. It's work.
Crazy. That's what that is.
Yeah, some of them are pretty funny.
Yeah. It's like, wow, you were sheltered, weren't you?
So.
I have a hard time finding stupid funny, but I'm weird. I admit that freely.
It depends on what kind of stupid we're talking about.
That's pretty stupid of you right there.
Sure. I mean, Blazing Saddles is hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Three Stooges.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Those awesome.
Yeah.
It's when it gets real that for me it crosses a line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are people pretending to be stupid.
So I'm sure there's people in our audience that were already familiar with this situation and all that, but wow.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't know how it's lasted as long as it has, because it's been going on for a while.
It had to, because I mean, I didn't really do that much looking into it, but it looks like some of these channels have been around for a couple of years or so, and that's all the videos that you see. So.
I think these are accounts that have been around for a couple of years, but they just only recently started doing some of these things. I mean, I remember seeing something like that, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, maybe.
Okay.
And I might have been slow to it too. It may have been going on for longer than that, but it seemed to blow up kind of then. Or maybe that's just when I stumbled across it.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it before that. I don't know, but.
And that stupid algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm not on Twitch much. I usually watch people who tell me what's going on over there.
Well, but
go look.
Well, you're watching stuff on YouTube that's telling you what's going on Twitch, and this stuff is all on YouTube.
Yeah, this is all on YouTube.
Oh, okay, on YouTube. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing. It's YouTube, and it's not at least with Twitch. If someone's doing this, which I know, we've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past, the streamer has the ability to make the channel mature audiences, so where if you want to watch, there's a pop-up that says, okay, the streamer says this is for mature audience, and then you'll have to click, okay, yeah, I want to watch it. And then
And they
there
do.
you are. So, yeah, they do. You don't have that with YouTube.
Nope. Not that they
You
disguise
don't.
this shit all that well, because they pretty much show. They've got what the hell's the term? Thumbnails
Yeah.
from the video. I mean, it's many of them are doctored because they're built as thumbnails, but
yeah,
there's not really that much hidden in some of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're
And
having this fight now at my house. Don't watch anything weird. Don't get me in trouble. But the kids' content, it's shit. I mean, they're sitting there watching Bluey 1 minute, and the next minute it's Bluey, but whoa, wait a minute. Why is Bluey pregnant? Yeah. YouTube needs some serious adjustments.
Yeah, it might be time for them to crack down again.
It is. Because like I said, some of this stuff that they're marking as kids, it's like, is none of this reviewed? I mean, it has to have been reviewed, right?
No, not really.
Like I said, your half full glass is starting to get on my nerves.
Yeah. I mean, it's just regular YouTube, go for it, but kids YouTube, where they had a crackdown because of this shit, what, 5 years ago, maybe? And now here we are back at the same cesspool.
You got to do that more often than 5
Yep.
years. You gotta.
They lack stuff. They quit reviewing the videos,
They did. I mean, for crying out loud, we put our stuff on YouTube. Come on.
Yeah.
Clearly nobody's paying attention.
Yeah.
Our shit's there. I mean, God. No standards at all. God. And we're just audio only. Hell.
Well, I was about to say, if it was video, then yeah, we'd probably have some issues, but no.
Could do some ASMR though.
Get Taco in there every once in a while. Oh. We found a whole new genre we can do now, guys.
We could. We're not going to, but we could.
We could.
Go for
Taco
it, Liz.
says he's ready when we are.
Go for it, Liz.
Yeah, blaze the trail.
Have fun. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get into this week's discussion. We were going to do this a few weeks back, but I can't remember what all.
We had to juggle the schedule.
We had the schedule had to be juggled for several reasons, so we're going to get into it today. We felt we needed to take an episode to kind of mark the passing of Roger Corman, because it seems like his name gets mentioned almost every week. Someone has watched a movie that was directed or produced by him. It seems like if it's not every week, it's certainly at least once or twice a month. So we do enjoy his work.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured we would take some time to kind of talk about him, talk about some of our favorite movies, and just kind of honor the man because he's done a lot for the industry. He mentored a lot of filmmakers and actors who've gone on to have pretty incredible careers. So with that, let's talk a little Corman.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's hard to find us not talking about Corman in some way or other.
Yep.
Because damn, influential hardly begins to describe.
Haven't we done a month of Corman films? Or am I confusing that with Hammerstein or Hammer and?
We did a Vincent Price month, and then one of the weeks was the Corman era,
Which was the House of Usher, wasn't it?
We did. I know we talked about The Last Man on Earth, but I'm not sure that was that Corman? I don't remember if that was Corman. We did.
Yeah.
We have talked about the post cycle some. Whether it was planned or not, we talked about it.
Yeah.
I don't. It's hard to remember at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know that we specifically did a Corman month, but we have
Yeah.
definitely done more than a month of Corman.
Yeah. Like I said, his name pops up pretty frequently on
It
the show.
does.
Right. And admittedly, I've been watching some Corman movies just recently because I am certainly not going to try to watch them all because, Jesus, that would take, I don't have enough time left in my life to do that.
You're right, yeah.
But I wanted to at least grab some of the early ones and stuff.
Well, and I think some of the earlier ones I've seen, like on Elvira or Seven Ghoulie and that kind of thing, because he's the king of B movies.
He is.
I was looking at a list of all of them, and it was like, wow, he's had a lot of hit and misses, Hit Silence of the Lambs, miss Sharktopus. I mean,
you say that.
So it's kind of a,
You say that. Sharktopus, they wouldn't do stuff like that if it didn't make money.
Yeah, and there was quite a few of those.
It's super cheap to make those movies. And honestly, as far as I know, his only real contribution to the Silence of the Lambs was he was in it as an actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the head of the FBI or something in that one?
Yeah, he was one of the administration of FBI. I can't remember the character's name.
Which
it's
where I have always read. That's one of my first. My first visual. The first time seeing him, and I had to go. I was like, why does that voice sound familiar? And so I had to look up who he was. I'm like, oh, I was like, that's cool that they put him in this movie. Probably because I don't remember. Jonathan Demme? Was he from the Corman School? I bet he was.
I think so. Yeah.
I bet he was. A lot of people were.
Mm-hmm. Well, Corman. It's funny because I've recently been going back on Dr. Wolfula's channel and watching a lot of the old reviews, and I hit the Scream films, and I had forgotten he had a cameo in Scream 3.
Cool.
As one of the execs. So I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about
that. So some of these he was actors in.
Usually bit parts, but yeah.
Yeah.
What about the 300? Was he an actor or director on that one?
The 300? What 300? Which?
Hang on. Let me pull this up again.
It's hard to get specific because there's just so bloody many of them.
Right. He did.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I was wrong. I thought they had him credited with the 300. What was his name? God, what the hell is his name? Short dude, big attitude.
Danny DeVito?
Russell Crowe.
I didn't realize he was short.
Compared to most Hollywood men, he's short. Or they make him look short.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. Because, and the deal is he wasn't just the director. He was a producer.
Uh-huh.
And, man, he put his name on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And could do it mainly because he was so good at doing stuff cheap. I mean, he turned independent film, cheaply made independent film, basically into its own industry for a long time.
Right.
I mean, American International Pictures, he put them on the map and kept them there for quite a while. And then he got tired of doing that for them and decided he'd do it for himself. And New World Cinema was born. Actually, there was one before that, wasn't there? I think he did another. New World was not the first production company he created.
Trying to remember right now.
He started Film Group, and that was early on. That was in the late 50s.
Wow, so I was like totally off base with 300. That is actually a Zack Snyder film.
See, I thought you were talking about a different Butler. 300. Yeah, I was like, she can't be talking about that 300.
You were saying D300, and I was like, I don't know what D300 is. I was thinking, yeah.
Way off on that one.
And that's not Russell Crowe, and that's not Roger Corman either.
Right. Zack Snyder and Gerard Butler. I don't know how the hell I confused that one.
One of Liz's classic, not even close moments.
Not even close.
Just
go back to sleep.
Outside, try to get a corner there.
Close but no cigar.
Okay.
We'll smoke another one.
I mean, if you
that
must.
explains it again.
Okay, so yeah, I was wrong on that.
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Okay, good. Because I think you had all of us thinking we were crazy there for a minute.
Right. No, it's just me. I'm the crazy.
Oh, I got a headache now.
Well, like Monty Python said, it's time to spot the loony.
Look no further.
Again, it's a good thing we're an audio-only show, but yeah, makes it harder to spot loony.
It did not take him long to get into horror movies. That, to me, is fascinating. And he really built his career around horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember the first Corman movie I saw. And that was Day the World Ended, 1955. And the funny thing is, the movies he did, he got names. He got big acting names to be in his films.
Mm-hmm.
I would even say launched quite a few big names.
Oh, he did, yes.
He did, yeah.
Big time.
By far.
Yeah, when I referred to Corman School, there wasn't a real school. It was just the sheer volume of talented people that came out of his movie, that worked on his movies because he found them and then coached them up and sent them out into the real world. I mean, Francis Ford Coppola, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Corman himself had a small role in The Godfather 2.
Yes.
Yeah. Senator, if I remember correctly.
We mentioned Jonathan Demme. I mean, there's a ridiculous list. I mean, Martin Scorsese, Peter Bogdanovich, Joe Dante, John Sayles, James Cameron.
Name.
Yeah, Cameron was like the second unit director for Piranha or something like that.
One of the Piranhas, yeah. Piranha or
yeah,
Piranha
one of
2.
the Piranhas. Yeah.
Piranha was one of the first horror movies I watched.
Wow. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It was pretty cool as a little kid, though, you know. Made you scared to go swimming.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. I remember
Hell, even
Jaws,
take a bath. Yeah.
I remember Jaws doing that for me, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he
See, and
gave...
I think I watched them all around the same time. That's why now you can't pay me to get into a lake or an ocean. Hell no.
Or a
That's been the
bathtub, and we've
theme
been
of
meaning to talk
too
to you
many.
about that, Luke.
Yeah, really.
He gave Ron Howard his first directing job. Also,
Huh.
Yeah.
that guy went on to make some
Wow.
movies.
Yeah, just
Uh,
a few.
He basically launched Jack Nicholson's career
Yeah.
in front of
Shop
and
of
behind.
Horrors.
Yeah. He as not only as an actor but also as a producer.
Nicholson did Head, did he not?
He did.
yes.
He was one of the producers, and he actually appeared in it, but not in a big role. But yeah, that is a weird fucking movie. If you have not
By
seen
far.
it, if you have not seen it, it is a weird fucking movie. Given that it stars the monkeys, it is a weird movie without the monkeys. It is an even weirder movie with the monkeys. But the monkeys were on the decline at that point anyway.
Yeah, they wanted to do their own type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to screw that up, though, because wasn't that a true story?
Yes. It's at least based on one.
Yeah.
1929, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think it was, yep.
How about It Conquered the World? Do you remember that one?
I'm trying to remember if I've seen that one. I think I have.
I've
Peter
seen,
Graves,
yeah.
Beverly
Van
Garland,
Cleef. Yeah.
Lee Van Cleef.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have seen that.
Looks like a large an alien artichoke.
I've seen the Mystery Science Theater version of it, yes.
Okay.
That was actually one of the first ones I saw. It's like with the first 4 or 5
They did a bunch
episodes.
too.
Oh, yeah. They did a lot of Cormans.
Dick Miller.
Yep, he gave us Dick Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And we all needed Dick Miller.
Mm.
I mean, we'll blow Liz's mind again because I mentioned this not long ago, but Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
And not the musical one.
Not the musical one. The original one with Jack Nicholson.
I had to have seen that one, too, though.
Jonathan Hayes.
Jonathan Hayes.
All in my brain.
I'd say with all of the, like I said, Seven Ghoulie and stuff I've watched, I'm sure I've seen the original. A lot of these, you watch so many of them, you forget. Especially on shows like that, you forget what they're playing week to week, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into it and you're like, yeah.
Yep, because it's
Vincent Gardino. Wasn't he in Little Shop? Played Mr. Mushnick.
was that the original or was that the musical?
I thought it was the original.
Don't know. Could be. If it wasn't him, it looked just like him.
Mel Wells. So, Mushnick was Godino in the musical. Thank God he didn't sing.
No kidding.
That was one of my favorites. The 1960 version of little shop.
It's wild. And let me tell you, if you have seen the musical version from '86, I think it was,
Hmm.
you still need to watch the original because it is very different.
Yeah. In fact, I saw the musical on off-Broadway.
Oh, cool.
And the female lead, Audrey,
Mhm.
not only did that in the movie, but she did it on stage also.
Oh, yeah. What was her name? I'm blanking on her name now.
Jackie Joseph was in the original, and she did a lot of work with who were we just? Oh,
Corman?
Dick Miller.
Oh, right. Yep. Well, Dick Miller worked with Corman a lot, too.
Oh yeah.
Dick Miller is another one that we have talked about endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Was House of Usher Corman's first Poe movie?
Maybe.
It looks like it
I
from
think
the
so.
list. Yep.
I think so.
And that was in '60.
Yes.
Hitting the Pendulum was in '61, so Premature Burial was in '62. Tales of Terror, The Raven. He did so many of those.
I didn't know he did the crab movie you were telling us about, Mikey.
Oh, yeah. Attack of the Crab People.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Like I said, I had gone back and was picking up a few early ones just because I hadn't seen them. I either haven't seen them or I hadn't seen them in so long I didn't remember them.
Yeah.
And he also drew on the younger crowd. You know, the rebellious teen type movies. So.
Oh, yeah. One of the big proponents of the teenager flicks.
Yeah. Rock All Night, Teenage Doll, just a slew of them.
Mm-hmm.
Eat My Dust kind of sounds teenagery angst.
Yeah. You see, but that could be either that or Western. You never know.
Teenage Caveman.
That's kind of a giveaway, yeah.
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 Little.
Bucket of Blood.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
It was one that surprised the crap out of me when I saw it the first time. I'll tell you what I didn't get. I've heard it referred to as a comedy. I did not get comedy out of that when I first watched it. Because I thought it was creepy as hell. Whether it was intentionally creepy as hell or not, I wasn't sure, but it came across to me as way more creepy than funny. If it was a comedy, intentionally, it was a dark one.
And that was one of Dick Miller's first starring roles.
Yeah.
He liked mixing animals. Dino shark, dino croc, camel spiders, piranaconda.
Camel spiders are a real thing. The others, I don't know. Well, camel spiders are a real thing. Whether that's what that movie's about or not, I don't know. But yeah,
it
that was.
shows a guy's face with like scorpion-looking spiders all over it. I guess those are the camel spiders.
That was a thing there for a while. It was selling, so why not, right?
Yeah, true.
Wasp Woman. That was an interesting one.
It was. I actually just watched that recently.
A werewolf? I like
Lord.
that. A werewolf. It sounds like Mike Tyson's trying to say it. A werewolf.
Wow. He's trying to make a comeback as a boxer.
By fighting Logan Paul.
Well,
that's kind of a...
Okay, it's a show, but that's beside the point. He's actually stepping into a ring for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. It's like sticking an anaconda on a puppy, though.
Well, it's a really old anaconda and a really stupid puppy, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
but the puppy is a fighter, as is his brother.
Yeah.
Hey,
But I'd love to see him get the shit beat out of him.
That's
too.
what I'm saying. I know a lot of
Absolutely.
people would pay money for that.
yeah.
Just to shut him up for one time. Just one time. I don't know. He might have been all right if he wouldn't have done the whole jackass thing before he moved over to boxing and wrestling and stuff.
If he hadn't been a YouTube star, is that what you're
Yeah.
getting at here? Yeah.
Well, he wasn't just a YouTube star. He was like a crude, gross, shock factor YouTuber. Like when he went to the suicide forest. What the hell was the point in that? You knew it was going to piss people off. You knew it was going to offend people, and he still did it. So it's kind of like, you can't feel sorry for stupid, you know?
See, we're
And
starting
every-
to understand each other now, Liz. We're starting to I can't laugh at stupid either.
Yeah.
Same reason.
And like I said, I'm all for giving people second chances, but as a YouTube star, he's had second, third, fourth, fifth, you know, to where his apologies just became a weekly joke, you know. So I don't know, maybe he can get hit in the head a few times and knock some brain cells around and, you know.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not
If
really
not,
the
I'm
direction
sure
that
he
usually
still
goes, but anyway.
cry in his buckets of money, you know.
Right.
So.
Is there a movie on this list that you would like to see, either again or just see for the first time?
I need to go back and watch Little Shop of Horrors again, just to make sure I've seen the original. I don't know. He's got some sci-fi too that I might be interested in.
Oh, he jumped feet first into the whole Star Wars ripoff thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
he went nuts.
And looking at it, like I said, I'm sure I've seen a lot of his work. Just thinking, you know, it's Elvira or, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I could narrow this down. I got no problem watching any of this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
even the terrible stuff is fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. I like a good B movie.
Right. It's just dumb fun. It's entertaining and it doesn't have to have any content in it, really.
He does have that.
Mm-hmm.
B movies.
Yep. The king of the B movies.
Candy Stripe Nurses. Anybody watch that?
No, I can't say that I did.
I don't
Yeah.
think I did.
Okay. We'll go on. How many times did he do Death Race?
Oh, a few. Was he involved in the remake?
I think so.
Probably.
The
The
he was
original-
executive producer
Oh,
for
there you go.
2008 version.
Yeah, he was then. The original is actually an interesting movie. I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's interesting.
The 75 version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There was actually a 1954 film called The Fast and the Furious.
Yes.
Yes. My understanding is that it is not related. I think they did like check with Corman or whoever owned it at the time to use the title for the current series because they're still making them.
Right.
So yeah, it is about it's a car thing, but that's about
Right.
as close as you get in terms of connection to those movies. I remember seeing part of it once, and it didn't draw me in. It wasn't particularly interesting to me.
Well, I mean, what caught my eye is, besides the title, is just that John Ireland was listed as one of the directors.
Mm-hmm.
I was not aware of him being a director, but I knew he was an actor. That's what I know him as. So,
I'm sorry, John who?
Ireland, John Ireland.
Oh yeah, he was a director big time.
Interesting.
He was producer of The Kids Are All Right. About the Who.
Oh wow.
Humanoids from the Deep. And one of the true classics, Battle Beyond the Stars.
I have not seen that. I am tempted to watch it sometime.
It is like the Magnificent Seven in space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it is funny.
Funny on purpose?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Purpose and non-purpose. There are times that you go, really? George Papard, Richard Thomas, Robert Vaughn. And Robert Vaughn essentially plays the character he did in The Magnificent Seven.
Oh wow. That's interesting.
Sybil Danning, John Saxon.
It's a hell of a cast.
It is. Beryl Ann Flugel. Some great names. Marta Kristen. How about that? From Lost in Space.
Cool.
Yeah, if you get a chance, that's one to sit down and watch. 1980.
I'll have to track it down.
Oh, I know someone has it. I just can't remember which one. I'll have to look it up and send you a link.
Cool.
I think Tubi may have it.
They might. I wouldn't put it past them. They have a bunch of these movies. They have a bunch of Corman stuff.
And Liz, if you get the chance, there's always Slumber Party Massacre.
I may have seen that one. It
About the
sounds
high
familiar.
school students.
Classic slasher stuff right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
With a guy with a drill, a power drill.
Yep.
And they made 3 of those total or something like that.
3 or 4. Yeah. Wasn't Crystal Bernard in one of those? Or am I thinking of a different series? Her name popped into my head when you mentioned it.
I can't remember right now.
I remember seeing interviews about that one, about the first one, in a documentary I watched about don't remember if it was specifically about early slashers or if it was about straight to video stuff. It was one of the two.
Crystal Bernard was in Slumber Party Massacre 2.
There you go.
Electric Boogaloo.
Power Drill Boogaloo, anyway. Yep, it is entirely impossible to list everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. And a lot of it is interesting. Some of it is probably not, admittedly, but a lot of it is interesting stuff. I mean, clearly it was entertaining to somebody because B movies made a lot of money.
It did.
And Corman made a lot of them. And he made it to 98.
Wow.
Yep, yet another one that didn't make it to that century mark so that we could celebrate them that way.
True.
Still holding out hope for a couple of them.
Well, don't say any names.
That's why I'm not. That was it. I'm done there.
Yeah.
What was his last film?
What, as director or producer or what?
Well, let's go as producer first.
The last one on the list I'm looking at is Death Race 2050 from 2017.
Okay.
Well, it had actually been announced, a couple of months back that they were going to remake Little Shop of Horrors, and he was going to be a producer. He was going to be like executive producer, and Joe Dante was going to direct it.
Okay.
Interesting.
So,
He was executive producer on The Jungle Demon in 2021.
Dang.
He did Frankenstein Unbound as a director in 99. I think one of those that he did that I would like to see is Von Richthofen and Brown. I'd like to see what his take is on that.
what was that again?
Von Richthofen and Brown, about the two pilots of the First World War, Baron von Richthofen and I don't remember Brown's name. Roy Brown. Don Stroud played Roy Brown. John Philip Law plays Baron von Richthofen.
Sinbad.
Don Stroud ended up with Perry Mason on one of his later TV shows. What was the one that had the detective in the wheelchair?
The Raymond Burr one?
Yes.
Ironside.
Don Stroud was in that. He was also in The Big Chill. Played the husband of one of the women. And of course, John Philip Law played Sinbad.
Yeah, it might be interesting to see that movie, honestly.
I just want to see how they handle it. Do they make it a big tear fest, or is it fairly accurate? And you can watch it on Tubi.
Oh, it is? Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Have to add that to my list.
Got you down.
Cool.
Joe Bob says, check it out.
All right. Any final thoughts as we wrap this up?
Yes. Please take time to watch some of the movies that we noted, or go to a list of Corman's movies and pick out some, because there are some great ones there.
There's a lot of interesting stuff there for sure.
Yep.
And on that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with Geek News for You. And we're back, and it's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we will bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. This week, it's Mike and myself. And Mike, would you go first, please?
Oh, sure. Quick note, just to throw it in there, because actually Les reminded me of it a little bit ago. This year marks the 55th anniversary of Night of the Living Dead. So we just spent a whole bunch of time talking about B movies, and this is kind of one of the classics of all time. I mean, it wasn't Corman, but it's pretty damn important, so worth mentioning, right?
It was, yeah.
Pretty damn cool movie, too, on top of that.
Isn't it like one of the first zombie movies, too?
Yeah.
It is. It redefined zombie movies. There were zombie movies before, but not many, and this gave us basically what we now know of as a zombie movie.
Right.
Good one.
Redefined zombies for the culture.
And it was scary. If you went to see it at the theater, it was scary.
I believe it.
Yep.
It was pretty scary the first time I saw it on a TV screen. So, yeah, I'll buy that.
For $1?
It's in the public domain. You don't have to do that.
It's free.
We almost made it.
I was not aware we were trying to make it, but anyway.
Looks like we made it.
Dang. All right. So news. I'm actually not 100% sure. I think what the deal is that it has been made available for pre-order. I think that's what it is. It's not exactly clear to me how that works. And honestly, I have a D&D Beyond account, but that doesn't mean I pay attention to it that much. I haven't gotten to play D&D in a while, so I haven't actually opened Beyond in a while. Anyway, so the deal is the Dungeons and Dragons has released has opened pre-order for a book they're calling the 2024 Player's Handbook. This is essentially the beginning of the release cycle for what was known in playtest as 1D&D. The deal is, or at least the way they're pitching it is, this is not 6th edition as much as it is a kind of revision of 5th edition. They are adjusting things and expanding ideas and giving players basically more to work with. And it's kind of fun because, well, one, it's exciting to see the new stuff coming out. I haven't really gotten a chance to look at it much. I've been very lazy about the whole 1D&D thing because there's been a lot of stuff. Some of the playtest stuff that they've released over the last, I'll say year, but that may not be exactly accurate. It may actually be longer than that. Has actually riled up their content community quite a bit, and so there's just been just a crap ton of YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff talking about this one D&D stuff. And I think a large part of why there's so much content about it is because not everybody's happy about it all. People are range from excited about small bits of it, all the way down to being completely outraged that stuff just doesn't work the way it has in the past and the way they think it should. And I mean, we are in the age of short consumable content about stuff like this, about nerd culture and about gaming in general. And so there's been a whole lot of stuff being talked about with this. And ironically, most of it, the beginning of this whole cycle was actually pretty negative because it was all of that open game license stuff that they backpedaled really hard on when they finally backpedaled on it. But there was a lot of pushback on that from the community. But then they actually started releasing real interesting stuff, and some of the content got nicer because people were actually they're actually releasing game stuff, which that's what players of games want, is game stuff. So things got happier for a while. So this is essentially the pre-order for the book that is currently slated to release on September 17th. I don't. It at a glance it seems like a long pre-order, but not really. Not because I mean they know their audience. They're getting people excited about it. So it's going to be an interesting couple of months in terms of what people are talking about in the community. So stay tuned and/or check that out. I will probably start paying more attention to it because at this point, I haven't actually, like I said, I haven't talked to my gaming group in long enough that we haven't talked about this. So talking about adoption is something that's probably still several months down the road, mainly because we're still in the middle of a 5th ed campaign. But,
It's pretty cool.
It's a big thing. I mean, a new D&D release like this doesn't happen often. I mean, the last one was 2014, so.
Yeah. And, anytime you have changes, whether it's big or small, you're always going to have that group of people that think it sucks,
Oh, sure. And
why can't it be the original?
I said, we're in the age of that sort of thing being easily accessible now. I mean, we can go watch a video by someone who hates it, and we can go watch a video by someone who loves it. And honestly, there's probably 1,000 videos in between. So,
Well, I think anytime you have something like this come out, people should be happy whether it sucks or not, because it means there's still enough people playing to where it's staying around. And new books, you're definitely going to catch the younger people and keep it around. So.
Yep. And I think that is going to be a large part of it, is people are excited to see new stuff.
Yeah.
New and interesting stuff dealing with their game. And so there you go.
Yeah. Good. I hope it's all good.
Yep. Me too.
Or at least for your group, it is.
Well, right. Well, it'll be interesting to see how much it really shifts the 5th ed dynamic, and whether I think a big part of it is going to be whether we could just drop it into our existing campaign, which I don't know. That's
everything I've seen. It's tweaks. It's no real big changes, but tweaked a few things that were already in place.
Right, and I think that is a lot of it. Any changes are surface changes, and then hopefully it sounds like they're adding a bunch of stuff kind of to flesh it all out.
Yeah.
to like make things easier to get started, because one of the kickers about D&D in general is character creation is a chore, to be honest.
It is. Yeah.
It's tricky, and you have to know a lot before you can get started, and that makes it a little hard to get new players into. And they've experienced, well, in an age where that sort of content is out there a lot more than it ever has been before, they're seeing a lot. I think they're getting exposed. The creators of D&D are getting a lot more exposure to the problems involved with getting new players in it, because there's just been this huge influx of new players in the last few years.
Yep.
That they're hearing a lot more about it and hopefully reacting to it and making things a little smoother and easier and making it more accessible.
Yeah. Well, I think since things like The Big Bang Theory and Stranger Things, it's opened it up to a different audience, you know.
Right, and Critical Role and
platforms,
Actual Play
too.
podcasts, and I mean, big platforms, small platforms, all kinds of different. I mean, the movie didn't hurt. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of came
forget about
after
the
all of
movie.
that stuff. I mean, it came a good 3-4 years after Critical Role, for example, which Critical Role was a huge turning point. I mean, a lot of people got into it from that, and a lot of people got into it from a little more exposure, like you said, from mainstream TV and that sort of thing. And and people putting out their own content, reacting to that, or engaging with it, or whatever. Lots of different stuff behind it. So it's just a lot more of it out there now, which is a good thing for the industry and for the game.
I think so.
Cool. For my news item, something we don't really talk about too often, but coming up on the 25th and 26th of this month be the latest auction from Heritage. This is the Hollywood Entertainment Signature Auction. And one of the items that they're going to have up is, are you ready?
Bated breath.
First D&D book.
No, we didn't coordinate that well this week.
That would have been pretty cool, though, huh?
It is Princess Leia's production-made bikini outfit
Lord.
from Return of the Jedi.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
I bet
Opening
it
bid.
grabs... Oh, go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
I'm going to say it at least grabs between 10 to 15 million. What, am I low?
Opening bid is 30,000.
Yeah, they haven't sold it yet, but
Yeah, it hadn't sold.
I don't know.
I don't think it's
Too many fanboys totally irked over that costume, though. So I think, I think it's going to go pretty high. If the
7
last
figures
Superman-
wouldn't surprise me, but it also wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't get that far. Almost certainly it'll get to 6 figures. If it's starting at $30K, that's almost certainly going to hit 100.
I don't know. Original Star Wars right now? Yeah, I think it'll...
Like I said, you
I
might
think
get
that'll
7
be the
figures.
piece to
You
watch
might get
for
$1 million.
sure. Yep.
You might get $1 million or more. Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I have to keep an eye out for that.
Well, yep. And when is that?
It is the weekend of 25th, 26th of July.
Cool. I'll have to post an update on that one.
Mm-hmm.
See who was right. Leave your guesses in our Discord.
There you go.
Our version of the Price is Right here.
Yeah.
Without going over.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's the trick.
$1.
$2.
Apparently Liz would indeed buy that for $1.
All right. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Just doing the whole thinking about all the folks down in Houston right now. Holy cow.
Yeah. Phew. I'm sorry it's happening to them, but I'm glad it missed us. We didn't need that right now.
I feel a little bad about the 15 minutes of rain I got out of Hurricane Beryl, but
right.
because they're going to be lucky to get power back inside of a week down in Houston, and that's millions of people.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, last week when they were showing projections of this and everything else, we were supposed to get rain like all this week. And all I can think about is that one tree that we've cut most of it down, but we haven't cut it down. It's like, man, that bitch is coming down. I know it's going to come down. So I'm so glad that it decided to miss us.
All right, you're saying that, and it's true. It was they had it tracked right over us, and every day you watch that weather report, that summit was moving a little bit further to the east and a little bit further to the east, and
yeah.
I'm on the northeast side of the Metroplex, and like I said, 15 minutes it rained at most.
Yep.
Half an hour tops.
I think my farm's getting it, but we ain't up here, so yay.
All right, well, we'll move on to our regular shout-outs. First off, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be part of a great group of fellow podcasters. Check out the network. There will be a link in the show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who have been kind enough to spread the word of fellowship by reposting our links on Twitter or at X, however you want to call it. The best way to check them out is do a search, #PodernFamily. Scroll through whatever catches your eye. Click on that link and please download that episode. We hope you have a great time listening to them. We want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying new music for our podcast. In our show notes, there will be a link where you can check out some of their other music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any comments, questions, suggestions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. Email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website and go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out. It was mentioned earlier, we do have a Discord that you can join. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to laugh at, that kind of things. But we do have a section specifically for feedback if you want to post your thoughts there. On social media, on Facebook, we are the Fellowship of the Geeks. On Instagram and Twitter, we're at Fellowship Geeks. If you want to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_Geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at TomTC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,